What's up, everybody? Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I'm worn out. And so instead of doing my normal live later tonight, I was going to go ahead and come on up for a little bit. So have no idea. Teresa, did you hear that, or did you see someone else post that? What's up, Kristen? Yeah, Jack, I'm gonna give me 1 second and I'll talk about my theories, and I'm interested in what Teresa just said. Good afternoon, Barbara. I'm going to have to get another whole computer screen just for my chats, just to be able to see all the chats. We'll wait and see if Teresa responds back. Hey, Janice, how are you? So my thoughts on who it possibly is, I'm not going to be able to say a specific person who I think right now. All right, so right quick, and I have not verified this. Okay, so don't go running people saying that I'm reporting this. I'm just going to repeat what Teresa on YouTube just said in the chat. So that she heard on a police scanner, on the Tucson police scanner, that they have located a body in the area of Annie's neighborhood. Again, I've not verified that. That's just what Teresa is saying. So we will have to wait and see. So again, don't go running saying I'm reporting that, because I'm just repeating that just because it's very interesting, obviously. So we will see. Yes, the guy they took into custody last night for questioning is the one they released. Does not mean he's not involved. We don't know what happened in the interview room. That's what people have to keep in mind. Things go on in the interview room that a lot of people don't realize, especially during a big case like this, as far as, is he somewhat involved somehow? And again, pure speculation. Okay. This is pure speculation on my part. Is he involved somehow? But he is helping them now with this case. So they've made it look like he doesn't have anything to do with it and just released him. Again, I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying we don't know what happened in that interview room. So people that are see. So it looks like it's being reported that there's no extra police presence or excitement going around Annie's house right now. So again, I wouldn't go announce that or anything. It's definitely far from being verified. Hey, Monica. Hey, Laura. Yeah, now I do know they found the glove earlier that was located approximately a mile from Nancy's house. And it is the exact same type of glove that I thought it was. Those black natural gloves. The thicker ones with the grippy stuff on the bottom. But again, I think those gloves were covering other gloves. See, this is what I'm talking about. You're talking about a Chris. There's no Chris on mine. That's crazy. See, look, I'm looking at the whole chat. No Chris. Why am I not seeing it? Okay. I don't think Chris would feel the same way if this was his family member. Just a guess. Just a guess. So we know they found a glove about a mile from Nancy's house today. Unverified at this point, as far as I know, if it is one of the actual gloves he had. But again, it is the exact type of glove that I thought he had on the outside layer gloves that he had on. So I think there's a decent chance. And that could have been they were throwing some things out of the car window as they're driving down the road. It could have been when they got out to the car, he set a pair of gloves on the hood of the car or something and then forgot them and they blew off later. We don't know. If this was your family member, it wouldn't be on the news. If it was this situation, it would. Now, I agree that it's getting more attention because it's high profile, but this would be national news every day just like this, no matter who it was, considering this is an extremely rare, very strange case. But again, I've told y'all, it's just a fact of life. High profile people get more attention. That's just the way it is. It's if you want to look at it like it's one of the perks of being rich and famous. There are perks to everyone's life, and I guess that's one of them to that. Again, it's just a fact of life. I don't know if there was blood on the glove they found. But okay, so my opinion on who is involved. ever since they released the video yesterday, the biggest thing that stuck out to me in that video was how calm that guy was. Very strange. Strangely calm. It was like he was getting back from the grocery store. I mean, he was relaxed. He did not appear nervous at all. He wasn't looking around. It was weird. On the same hand, it is obvious he is not a professional criminal. The way he was carrying the firearm, the holster he was using, everything about it. Trying to pick up some little flowers to cover the camera. And his, hey Gina, I hope you're doing well. Yes, Gina can relate. The only missing persons case that I have that was not solved, that I didn't solve, unfortunately, is Gina's aunt. And I think about it every day, and I know they do, for sure. But anyway, he was extremely calm, but not professional at all. And then also, he had at least 2 pair of gloves on, and they were so thick. It's so thick. I don't even know if he could have I don't even know if he would have been able to pull the trigger on that firearm. So again, none of that adds up to me. It does not make any sense. So that brings me to the only conclusion I can come up with from that is this is someone very familiar with that residence, very comfortable around there. Now, that could be, obviously, yes, it could be a family member. It could be a close friend. It could be someone that lives in the neighborhood. All those are possibilities for someone that could be that comfortable at that time of day, that time of night, and doing what they were doing. Also, it could be someone that does a lot of work around the house, such as a pool guy, a lawn person, anything like that. So that doesn't narrow the field down to a ton of people, obviously, but it definitely narrows it down. And again, that's my opinion from that video. And I think any professional expert would probably agree with how calm he was strange. If it wasn't for, he obviously does not know how to carry a firearm, and rarely carries a firearm or never carries one, then I would think he was prior law enforcement or current law enforcement or military, something like that, that's been through a lot, because it is weird how calm he was. They keep saying that there was allegedly it's been reported that there was no forced entry. Well, we know there was no forced entry on the front door, because we watched him on the camera there, and then we've seen pictures of the door since then, and it doesn't look like anything happened to that door. Also, if that door is locked, those things are hard to breach. With all my experience in executing search warrants, if you're coming up with a lot plan and the residence has that front door on it, that burglar bar door, whatever you want to call it, you're going to go a different route in how you're going to breach that house, because they can be very hard to get off. So, and there was no marks or anything on that doors. So if they did force entry, it was on another door. But we've been told that there was no forced entry. But then also, I keep hearing a lot that the family was saying the back door was unlocked, and so they just entered that way. So my question is, how would anyone know if it was unlocked? Just because it was unlocked when they got there doesn't mean it was unlocked when the criminals got there. So I have a lot of questions about that. And again, the guy they had last night, I have no idea how he was involved or if he was involved. It's definitely possible that he wasn't directly involved in the actual crime that night, but inserted himself either beforehand or after. Again, we don't know yet. And again, it's just a case that gets stranger. The more information we get, the more stranger it gets. It's very strange. Oh, her birthday is tomorrow, Gina? Paula, so I'm on 3 different platforms at the same time. I'm on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm sorry. I will try to. I do need to do better at reading the question out before I answer. I do apologize for that. I do need to do a better job at that. Last night was another Cash Patel failure. What? I guess they get in your mind he can't win. Then if he wasn't doing, if they didn't do anything, you would be saying that, and they're actually making moves, and you're saying that. I don't understand. So Gina said those eyes belong to a female, and there's 2 separate people. I'm not going to disagree. There may be 2 separate people. I don't think this was just one person. I'm not an expert in eye recognition. If that's even a thing, I'm not sure if anybody is. Maybe you are. I've seen the still shot of the one you're talking about. It is the exact same jacket. Now, I don't know whether it's a different person or not. I'm not saying it's not. He definitely does not have the backpack on in that other still shot. That's about all I can tell from the distance he was and the infrared. But the way that man walked, his gait, and the way he carried himself around that porch, I would bet a lot that that's a male. Is he still with police? That the guy from last night has been released, but that's all we know. Yeah, Gina, I don't doubt there was another person there, if not maybe even 2 more on scene that night. I think there's a decent chance that while he was at the front door, that somebody else or more people were at the back door. I don't doubt that. I just question if somebody can just look at a pair of eyes and tell if it's male or female. And as I've said a bunch of times, that infrared is very tricky. It can play tricks on you. So I hate it. Now, again, it's better than nothing. Like that camera being infrared that night and catching what it did is way better than nothing. But I'm telling you, if you have cameras at your house, and I hope all of you do, turn the infrared off, turn that night vision off, keep them on daytime, and have light shining where the cameras are. It makes all the difference in the world. I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference. I'll bring it up, Gina. I think I've got it. Give me 1 second. Not that one. Not that. So you're talking about this one, and then I'll bring the other one up for comparison, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So the reason I'm almost positive it's the exact same jacket is you see that black line. So the one that's further back that doesn't have the backpack on. Look at that black line on the chest, and then the same black line on the other one. So I'm pretty positive it's the same jacket. Now, yes, I agree. I don't think he has the backpack on there. Now, again, infrared can trick you. It can be very tricky at times. I believe it is the same pants, and it is the same jacket. Now, that could still mean it's two different people. They literally may have gone out and purchased these clothing specifically for this. I don't know, but that has happened before. They could be dressed exactly alike. That's happened before. So even if they're dressed alike, it still could be two different people. I don't know. But the one thing I do agree that, I don't think he has the backpack on here. But it is the same jacket. And then the face, you just can't tell at all from the other one because it's too far back. So somebody said the guy they detained last night was a delivery guy, not an Uber driver. From what I understood, he was both. That He drove for Uber sometimes. He door dashed, and then I also heard that he possibly worked for UPS or FedEx too. I never really fully. It was never made clear to me. Now, someone else may be able to state clearly of something they've seen today from reliable sources on exactly what he was. So I keep seeing people say videos. I can only find one. Team, have any of y'all found another video than what we have? Because I've seen a bunch of people say that, which makes me think maybe we're missing a video that they put out. What did you say, Bobby? I'm sorry. I just meant, like I said, I've got 3 different chats up, so I try to my best to keep up with all of them, but I can't. We don't have that video. I don't think. I don't think I've seen that specific. I think that is the other. Yeah. Can you put that in Discord? Oh, Bobby, the birthday, we're talking about somebody else. We weren't talking about Nancy. I'm talking about the video from the night Nancy Guthrie was taken. You may be a family member of mine, Bobby. I wouldn't doubt it. I got a lot of family. I wouldn't doubt that at all. Yeah. We talked about it a lot last night, whether he had a flashlight in his mouth, and I came to the conclusion late last night that he definitely does. So I agree with that. And he's biting down when he wants to turn it on. I think maybe neighbors' lights from across the street. Glenview asks, is that a yard light in the background there behind the masked man, or a street light or neighbor's light? Yeah, I think that's some neighbor's lights. And you people, I know what I'm going to do. The next live, we're going to test you. That's easy. And we're going to see if y'all can actually pick out male and female eyes. I don't think it's possible, but I definitely have been wrong before. And now I'm curious. So we'll test y'all. I'm sure some of the neighbors have cameras, but I think the issue is most of the houses in that neighborhood sit a decent way from the road. And so I'm guessing their cameras, if they do have them, just don't really see much other than their front yards. So Pickett said, what I don't understand is at first they said Annie took her mother home that night and then later changed it and said the son-in-law took her home. I'm still not clear on who the officials have stated took her home. I've heard all three from tons of different people. So if someone can point me in the direction of where we can find that from an official source, please do, because I'm curious about that, because I still am not clear on who it was. It's very possible they'll find DNA on the glove they found. Somebody asked, I wonder if they'll find DNA on the glove they found. I think there's a decent possibility. I sure hope they get who it is. I'm very confident that this will be solved. Now, I couldn't tell you when. Obviously, hopefully sooner rather than later. But with this video alone, I think it will definitely get solved. It's just a matter of when. The glove was found earlier today. Isn't it odd that Savannah hasn't offered so much more for her mom? No, because there's no proof of life. I wouldn't offer them anything nor send them anything without proof of life. I mean, and I think the only reason, if the FBI ends up sending them any, which I think somebody sent like $300 yesterday, $300, which was possibly FBI. Again, pure speculation. But that's probably the only reason I think they would send anything, is just to see if they could track where it goes, and if somebody gets it. They're not going to pay that full month without proof of life. No way. Because no matter who has her, if they really got her for ransom and she's still alive, they would show proof of life, because they would know, hey, as long as because if they showed proof of life, they'd get paid. I guarantee you that. So if that's really what it was all about, and she's still alive, there would be proof of life. The fact there isn't, tells me, well, number one, as I've said from the beginning, I don't believe this was ever a kidnapping for ransom. I think that was all a red herring, if you will. I don't think it was ever that. Where was the glove found? The glove was located at approximately a mile from Nancy's house. Now, I don't know exactly where, like if it was on the side of the road. I just saw that approximately a mile from Nancy's house. Oh, it's fine, Teresa. No, I understand. And I'll just, if you're one of those that are just absolutely stuck on it's a certain person, nothing's going to change your mind because you're going to be stuck in confirmation bias. So everything you see in your mind is going to point back to who you just absolutely think it is. And it's just going to keep on adding to your confirmation. That's it. Again, as I've said 1,000 times, confirmation bias is very easy to fall into, and everybody does at times. Really good investigators are aware, try their best to be aware of that at all times, and when they and hopefully realize when they are falling into that and pull themselves back out of it. I mean, that's the question of the month, Gina. Why would anyone want to kidnap an 85-year-old woman? I don't have an answer because I at this point I have no idea. No, I mean, Brenda said, "Why does the FBI keep searching her daughter and son-in-law's house?" If they've searched the actual house again, I'm not aware of that, but just the one search is, to me, telling. And all the action that was at around Annie's house and in her neighborhood yesterday. And I've been saying this for about 3 or 4 days. I believe, due to all the activity at Annie's house and around Annie's house, that the investigators believe someone that resides at Annie's house is involved in some way. And I'm not saying they are involved. I'm just saying I believe that the investigators have some reasons to believe someone that resides there is. There's just too much activity going on around their house. Why are they looking in Nancy's backyard now? Didn't they search it already? Yeah, but you should always, especially in cases like this, it's very common to go back and have different people search the exact same area numerous times. We all see different things. You could walk into a room and be looking for an item, and this has probably happened to everybody. And this is the way our eyes work. So the way our eyes work is our eyes do not see everything that our brain is telling us we're seeing. Our eyes, because we have this nose in the middle, right? We have this space in the middle. So our eyes are only catching pieces of the picture. And then our brains are literally putting the rest of the puzzles together, pretty much speculating what else we should be seeing, if that makes sense. That's the easiest way for me to break it down. But that's exactly why you could be looking for an item in a room and just not find it, no matter how hard you look. And then you call your wife in there or your husband and say, "Can you look for this?" And they walk in that same room and immediately see it. That's exactly why that happens. And Teresa, I believe something happened to her and they're trying to cover it up. Again, I definitely don't believe this was ever a kidnapping for ransom. I don't know what happened inside that house, obviously, that night and thereafter, but I don't think this was. Well, let me say this. Seeing the unprofessionalism of this criminal, it is possible that that was their plan. And then as soon as they got in the house, shit didn't go the way they planned, which would be very common. And it's just continued to get worse from there. David said, after 27 years in law enforcement, I was over investigation. Never dealt with a case of this magnitude. There's not many people that have dealt with a case of this magnitude. But usually in any case as this, from burglaries, homicide, or assaults, the offender is usually a family member or family friend. But odds are this lady is deceased. If she was alive, the offenders would have given proof of life. I agree with everything you said, David. Now, burglaries, also, there's also a decent percentage of those that happen from workers, whether somebody roofed your house and part of that crew saw some stuff inside and decided to go back at another point, or lawn guys or something like that. But yeah, I mean, family's definitely the first people you look at, and then you work your way out. And seeing this guy, again, how calm he was during this video brings me to the conclusion that he is very comfortable with that residence. Yeah, and they were in the house, as Squirrely said, from the time the camera was disabled to the time her pacemaker was not attached to her phone, 45 minutes. That's a long time to be in the middle of a crime like that. That's a long time. And it's hard for me to believe, if they were really stressed to the max during all this, that they would have been in there that long. Because again, when you're in the middle of something like that, 45 minutes is a lifetime. I mean, so the question is, do you think Nancy is deceased? I just prayed so hard that she was not. I'm just looking at it and I'm just being real. And I think the chances of that, I'd give it about 5%. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that I am definitely proven wrong on that. 100%. But again, being realistic, I think it's very doubtful at this point. I don't know why. Then why did he look surprised when he saw the Nest camera? Hold on, let me pull the video back up and we'll watch it again. I don't remember noticing that. Yeah, so let me pull this up and I'll show you what I believe. So to me, from this video, he definitely knows the camera's there because he's first off. All right, yeah, this is very telling. You see him hit that light right before the step. That makes me believe he knew the step was there. Because remember, this is pitch dark. So he knew that step was coming up and he hit that light. You see, and the light shined right on that step. You can see it. It shined right on that step. And then he stepped up and he has his head down the whole time. Because I believe he knew the camera was there. And then, let me pull up the other video. Ooh, that's big. I'll start this back over. All right, so now he walks up and he immediately puts his right hand over blocking that camera. So, I mean, my opinion, I have no doubt that he was very familiar with that. He knew that there was a step coming up. And then he knew that camera was there because he had held his head down due to the camera. And then when he got up close to it where he's going to have to raise his head up to look for the doorknob, he put his hand over that camera. Why wouldn't he have come up with something to cover the camera instead of that's part of the showing that he's not good at this, that this is not some professional. I mean, I'm guessing he didn't mean to look at the camera. I mean, if you disagree with what I just pointed out, that's fine. I mean, again, it's speculation on my part. It's just hard for me to go against what I just saw. I think it's hard to challenge that he didn't know that step was there, and shining that light, and then purposely once he stepped up, keeping his head down, and then when he got close to the camera, immediately putting his right hand up before he looked up, really. Or is the same motion, at least. So, again, I mean, it's speculation. You could be right. I'm just going off of what I just showed, and I would definitely say more likely than not, he's familiar with that house, and going along with how calm he was. In my opinion, there's too much evidence there for me to not come to the conclusion that he was very familiar with that house. And so T. Toddy said, I think he's ringing the doorbell. That is possible. That is definitely possible. So, and that answers somebody else's question that I just read about, did she answer the door? So it is possible he rang the doorbell and then she came to the door. We don't know because the camera was removed right after that, as far as that front camera. And so they don't have anything from that, as far as we know anyway, that they've put out. So that's definitely possible. And I'll show you. So first, we'll bring this up. And you can see, the doorknob, and then right up above it, you see where the Nest camera was. And then over farther to the right, you see what appears to me to be a doorbell. So you see the location of the doorbell. And then, let me pull this other one up. Well, I think it maybe after that. We'll see. It seems like I remember seeing where it looked like it appeared that he may have been reaching his left hand over towards that area where the doorbell is. No, I guess it would have been 4. Let's start it over. So, again, I definitely can't say for sure, but I can't say he didn't. In this frame, like I said, maybe he was reaching over for the doorbell, or maybe he was reaching for the doorknob. I don't know for sure. What happened? What is that from? Hold on, just say it. All right. So frustrating. I think we may have just lost TikTok. I think someone reported saying that we were showing nudity. That people don't agree with what you say, with your opinion, and they Man, that's frustrating. Yeah, we've lost TikTok for the moment, so okay. Jesus. I'm telling y'all, I hate TikTok. I do. I absolutely despise it. It's the worst. They will kick you off just because somebody complains when it's not true at all. You got to be so careful with the words you use. I hate it. And I know some of you are asking, then why are you still on it? Because that's the one that pays. It just pays way better than the other platforms for some reason. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be on there at all. And if any of the other ones start paying as well, then I'm off TikTok and I'll never be back on there again. I go through that like once every 2 weeks. I'm almost positive we were not showing nudity. Anyway. Yeah, we got kicked off TikTok for showing nudity. Trish, obviously we wasn't, but I pissed somebody off, I guess, by not agreeing with somebody's opinion, and they reported and said that we're showing nudity. Anyway, oh my goodness. All right, let's move on. What do you mean you think those pictures was a setup? Teresa said, I think those pictures was a setup. I agree with that. Top Dog said, I believe that weapon holster is for a revolver, but he's got a semi-automatic in there. Please stop thinking. Only tell us what you actually know. What would be the use of me being up here if I'm just telling you what we know? You could just go read that very quickly. I don't understand your statement. We don't know a lot. So, I mean, again, go Google it right quick and you can see everything that is known. It's not much. So good. I mean, go have fun with that. I don't know what you're talking about. Inspector, how many people come to your job and try to tell you how to do it? Oh, yeah, Melody. I got you. I don't know which is worse, when I was in law enforcement and everybody trying to tell me how to do my job, or when I'm doing this. They're both pretty bad. Oh, I'm sorry, Inspector. Okay. Let me apologize to the Inspector. He wasn't talking to me, he said. He was talking to somebody else. I apologize, Inspector. It wasn't, you didn't reply to somebody, so I just thought you were talking to me. I should have asked you first. But a lot of people do come here and say ridiculous things like that. I'm just like, just don't watch me. I mean, why take the time out of your day to type a comment like that? Like, just don't watch me. I apologize, Inspector. All right, let me get back on track here to where we were. I don't remember where we were. I think we just finished up the discussion about if it was possible he rang the doorbell. So again, I don't think you can fully tell one way or the other, but I definitely wouldn't rule it out. Derek, I think FBI and all the family plus ones involved want the world to shut up. No, I don't think so. If that was the case, no. I think they're wanting this to have a lot of attention because they're wanting tips. I definitely don't think the family. I don't have any reason to believe the family wants us to shut up. And I don't have any reason to believe the FBI wants that either. They're being very laxed with the media around them. I mean, they're letting the media follow them everywhere out there. I was telling my wife earlier that would drive me insane if I was working that investigation with the media just everywhere following you around. I mean, they'll get in their car and go to lunch and there's media following them. It would drive me insane. But they're being very lax. They're not giving them a hard time that I've seen. Anything like that. Who found those pictures? So the pictures were obviously from that Nest camera that was removed that night. And the way they were able to recover that data, because she didn't have a subscription, was they got with Google, who is the parent company to Nest, and they were able to pull that data from the back end of the cloud, because even though you don't have a subscription, and so it's not saving everything, it is immediately overriding previous data because it has to save in the cloud for a minute. That's the only way you could be able to view it from your phone and app and stuff. So the guy actually screwed himself by removing it and disabling it, because then that cut off any further footage going through there and overriding that footage that we're seeing. So that's why, number one, it took almost a week to get that footage. And two, that's the only reason we have that footage. So thankfully he did remove it and disable it. I can't believe they had Domino's pizza delivered. No, that was crazy. That was the poor Domino's delivery person. I can't imagine. Like, you would think when they got out of their car with the pizza that they would have stopped for a second and go, hold on, maybe we should try to contact who's ordered this and see if this is the right place we're going to. But they didn't. They just, I've seen a picture that I believe is real of them standing on the front porch with the pizza. And I guess that's when somebody saw it was like, so the police are not doing the best of jobs at keeping the scene secure, which is not good, to be honest with you, at all. But an inspector said police have to be close. They seem to have the best of the best out there. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, the amount of just FBI agents they have sent to that area is mind-boggling. I mean, they have thrown everything at this to try to get this solved. Everything. And that is one reason you're seeing so much action that's not necessarily common. It's just because they have so many of them out there, and so they are going over everything. Everything. And as I said earlier, I do feel very confident that they will solve this. I just don't know when. Defense will have a field day. Well, as far as the camera, like when they catch that suspect, I mean, there's no denying that. If they locate anyone's DNA, say inside her bedroom, it's pretty good evidence no matter what. I mean, yes, obviously it's extremely important to keep the scene secure for a lot of reasons. You don't want cross-contamination. You don't want, every volunteer firefighter walking through there, and then if one of them ended up being the person who did it, and then they have a good excuse for their DNA to be there, something like that. That's something I've seen before. So, I mean, it is very important to keep the scene secure for a lot of reasons. However, there is also evidence that if you get certain evidence, that's not going to affect it. But I do agree that, yes, there's going to be, it's going to cause the prosecution problems for sure. So I definitely agree with that. It had to be someone who knew she didn't have a subscription. Again, I mean, I don't know if I could come to that conclusion yet as far as that detail, considering they were all, I mean, they did try their best to not be recognized and did a decent job at it. And again, when he walked up, he had his head down, and in my opinion, that was so he wasn't looking at the camera until he got up there close enough where he could hold his hand over it. But I definitely believe it was someone very comfortable with that house. So, yes, a lot of people that would fall into that category would probably also know that she didn't have a subscription. It's a good question, Brianna. So Brianna said, do you think the ransom note writers have any connection, or do you think it's someone capitalizing on the event? So my only hiccup on that is we've been told, especially I've heard the owner of TMZ himself say it numerous times, that there was information in that letter that the FBI told him that only someone involved could know. Now, if that is true, then I have to say, yes, I think that the same people, the same group at least, is responsible for both. However, either way, I think that ransom note if it is from who was involved, I don't think they ever expected to get the ransom or anything. I think they just did that as a red herring, just to try to throw the scent off of what really happened. But now, again, I'm just saying, going off of that because of what the TMZ owner has said. And I don't know the guy. I don't know how trustworthy he is. I don't trust a lot of the big media people as it is. So I'm very reserved when it comes to that. But I'm not saying he's lying. And I don't know that I've heard the officials say that. But if anybody has, please let me know. Because I am curious as to if that is absolutely true or not. It's just it is very strange to me, which everything about this case is strange. So we have that, but it's strange of why anyone would have sent a letter to TMZ out of all people. Like if they would have sent it to Savannah's network, that would make a lot more sense. I believe if this was an actual kidnapping for ransom, for one, I think the ransom would have gotten directly to the family, not sent to some news station. So that's one clue of why I don't think it was ever for ransom. The other is it was like 2 days after she was taken. That doesn't make sense because if you're really kidnapping someone for ransom, you're going to want to get this whole thing over with as soon as possible, especially if you're holding an elderly 84-year-old woman with serious medical conditions. You're not going to want to hold her for a week and trying to keep her alive. You're going to want to get this all over as soon as possible. So them waiting 2 days before they even sent that and then sending it to TMZ, it just doesn't make sense to me. TMZ has also now stated they have received a second one. So again, let me be clear. I'm not saying TMZ is lying. I'm just saying I won't fully believe that unless I hear it from the authorities. Yes, Joey, I've spoken about the guy on the camera at her door a lot. But if you have any specific questions, ask away. I'll be glad to answer. So Top Dog says he don't believe it's the same people, and he believes the letter comes from somebody who is tech savvy and is from 16 to 20 years of age. And again, I would definitely be 100% on board with that. And if it's not true that there was information in that letter that only someone involved would know, then I would definitely, I would fully agree with Top Dog on that. And again, I don't know if that's true. So if that's not true, then absolutely, I don't believe it's from the same group at all. I think it would just be someone trying to cash in on someone else's bad time. What happened to the guy that was detained last night? All we know is he was released sometime this morning. And as far as I know, that's all the authorities have put out. So we don't know what happened as far as maybe he was released because they ended up having nothing on him. Maybe it was a tip and they had a little bit of evidence and then they talked to him and decided, okay, yeah, this is nowhere. Or maybe he is involved and he gave them some information they needed and they're going to try to get him to get some more information. Again, I don't know. We don't know. But that is a possibility, but I'm definitely not saying that's what happened. That's pure speculation on my part. But as far as the letter and kind of going off what Top Dog's saying, it is hard for me to believe that whoever was in charge of this at her residence, with as unprofessional as this all was, would be the same people who felt comfortable enough of sending the email to TMZ and not be afraid of it being traced back to them. And again, it also doesn't make sense why they would have ever sent that letter that late in the game. Because and I would definitely agree that whoever sent the letter is pretty tech savvy. Yes, Amanda, I was shown that earlier. It's never ends. Joyce said, when I saw the video and paused it several times, it looked like to me you could see facial hair around their mouth. And I think I could see that as well. But again, I can't say that with absolute certainty, because the infrared can play tricks on you. But I do think that as well. If the ransom is real and they get the money they asked for, wonder where and how they would get her back to the family without getting caught. Do you think they would just leave her in a random place? There is, to me, I could almost say with certainty, there is no way that if this is a real kidnapping for ransom, and that is the whole point behind this. Again, I don't believe that's, but let's say if it is, let's say it was, then I would be 100% sure that she's no longer alive, because they would have shown proof of life to get the money. And they would know, especially by now, if we don't show proof of life, we're probably not going to get paid, which is more than likely true. I wouldn't send them anything without that. So, for one, I wouldn't believe that we would get her back or she was alive without proof of life. For two, that would set a very bad precedent. Like, say if they just paid, there would be some more people go and kidnap people and take their life and then demand ransom and say they were alive and then just take the money. I mean, it'd be a bad precedent to set. But that's just not the way it would be handled, I don't think, at all. I think it's Eric, Eric maybe. She was kidnapped at 2 a.m. Sunday, and KOLD and KJUN received letters at 6 p.m. on Monday. Yeah, but I think those they have determined was not real. They've arrested somebody out of California for one of the letters that was sent, and it was completely just him trying to get some money out of this. He had nothing to do with it. And if you're new here, please like and follow, or if you're on YouTube, subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. But in saying that, I've got to call it early evening this evening. what is today? Wednesday. If there's any new developments, I will probably go back live at some point tomorrow. If not, then I'll just be back live Friday at 8 p.m. at my normal live time. But I hope there's developments. I hope they get someone in custody pretty soon. We'll keep an eye on it, and I'll keep everybody notified. But yeah, make sure you're subscribing and following, and that way you'll get notified when I do go live. But my normal live times are Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. And you can find my full podcast on anywhere you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and then also on YouTube and Rumble. So make sure to check those out. I was on a pretty big podcast today. We recorded it today. As soon as I find out when it's going to be aired, I'll put that out. But I'm very excited about it. And I think it's going to really give us a big jump in our followers as well. And very excited about that. So we got a lot of things going and coming up in the near future, and some really big podcast guests ourselves that we'll be getting in here in the studio pretty soon. But I appreciate each and every one of you being on here and listening. And like I said, I'll keep an eye on everything, and I hope everyone has a good rest of your Wednesday night.